So starting about Saturday, and you can do it sooner if you like, but I'm not going to respond until Saturday, you will be responsible for submitting to me a research prospectus. You will do these prospectuses every 2 to 3 weeks, and you will send them to me via email. Okay? So there's instructions on that later, but the first research prospectus is actually called a research proposal. Okay? So a research proposal is the presentation of an idea that you wish to pursue. So you're saying, this is the topic of my research project that I'm going to be working on for the next 15 weeks, 14 weeks. Okay, we've already used one. So you will start on Saturday, and you will have all the way up until next Sunday. So you have roughly a whole week plus a couple of days to submit your research proposal. And you will submit the research proposal via email. You will title the email Research Proposal, and then you will write in the email itself your proposal in paragraph form. It needs to be long enough to be convincing enough. If I'm not convinced, I will not approve your topic. Only 5 people per topic, so if you send one in, it's first come, first serve. But if yours is not approved right away, then you may have missed out the opportunity to write on that topic. So key things before I tell you what's in the proposal. Make sure that you title it correctly, Research Proposal, and then make sure that you proofread and you check your spelling and you look for grammar, punctuation. This is an English class, and just because it's an email doesn't mean that you don't have to be careful about your presentation of that material to me. Okay, so what goes in this research proposal? All right, there are 4 parts. First part, you need a statement of the question your paper will answer. Now again, remember, your point of your paper is to argue something. So don't write a question that simply gives an answer. How many people live in the United States? That's a question, yeah. That's not a research paper question for an argumentative essay. Because we could just say billions. There's no argument. Well, you might say, well, somebody might argue, but if it's the facts, you can't argue facts. So you want a question that starts maybe with should Mexicans crossing the border be allowed to stay in the U.S.? Should the Healthcare Act, whatever it is. What is the debate? Think about what the current debate is about that topic. Should medical, no, we're not doing medical marijuana. Ugh. Unless you can convince me that it's new and fresh, but no one has done it. Even last semester, someone said, I can do it, and it was a flop, in my opinion. Okay, so that's the first thing, a statement of your question that your paper will answer. Then, so you have the question, should same-sex couples be allowed to marry? And then you say, then you need a statement as to what your argument will be. So, yes, they should. This is my argument. They should be allowed to marry. Okay, explain it a little bit. Don't just say yes or no. Explain a little bit. Give a couple sentences there. And then here's the key part. Number 3, a statement that explains how personal freedoms relate to the argument. Okay? So, example, using the legalization of marijuana. This is another reason why I don't like for students to write on this topic. They will say things like, we should legalize marijuana because by doing so we can tax it and it would, be better for our economy. So the research question is, should marijuana be legalized? And the student is obviously saying, yes, it should be legalized, and one of my reasons for why is it's going to best the economy or better the economy. And then I always say, but what does that have to do with personal freedoms? And then they always say, oh, it's our freedom to do whatever we want in this country. That wasn't the initial thought. Your initial thought should be about the personal freedoms when you choose the topic. So if you're choosing something like legalizing marijuana, then start with the personal freedoms as your biggest and strongest argument for the paper. And not that you can't talk about how it might better the economy, but I want for you to talk about more prominently the personal freedoms issue of that, which is, does anybody know? What is the personal freedoms issue in medical marijuana? And you could say, well, it's the individual's right to be able to use medicines that are known to alleviate pain. Okay, that helps. But just legalizing marijuana alone, you have to think about what personal freedoms. We have the personal freedom to drink alcohol, but we don't have the personal freedom to take some drugs. You know, there's an issue there, but let's forget about marijuana. Let's pick some better topics. There's some good stuff out there. I'm really looking for some creative, critical thinking. Okay, so the fourth statement that you need in this research proposal is a statement as to how your argument will differ from that which has been made by other authors. Okay? Every topic that you will choose will have been done, written, argued by someone else. Okay? But how is your argument different? How is yours original? Okay? So I already talked about some of the topics that I've just pretty much outlawed, mostly because students weren't able to tell me that. But in your research proposal, this will be probably one of the key things for why I say, yes, you can do that topic, or no, you can't. Because I will say, you know, I'm old, I've been teaching for 21 years, and I've read that paper that you want to write about 50 different times. I'm over it. Unless you can convince me that your argument is original and different. Now, don't be confused by that. By original and different, it doesn't mean that you can't have the same overall. I mean, there's only two sides to the issue of some of these things, like gay marriage, yes or no. You're either going to say yes or you're going to say no. But that doesn't mean that it has to be the same direction of the argument. Okay? You can be original in how you approach that. Okay? You can be different in how you approach, how you say yes, how you argue yes, or how you argue no. Okay? So sometimes you may not know, and it won't come until later after you've done more research when you start to realize that, oh, my argument is just like everybody else's. So when you're starting to write your research proposal, you may not know yet, but you need to give me at least an attempt at, I think mine is going to be different because I'm going to do this. Okay? So again, the specific parts of your research proposal, which you can start submitting to me on Saturday. You can submit early, but I won't respond until Saturday. 1, a statement of the question your paper will answer, so your research question. 2, a statement as to what your argument will be, what side of the issue are you on, or what is your solution to the problem. 3, a statement that explains how personal freedoms relate to your argument. You can't ignore the personal freedom aspect of it. It's the theme of the course. And then 4, a statement as to how your argument will differ from that which has been made by other authors. How is your argument original or different? Okay? So that's your research proposal. And keep in mind that you will be writing a position paper, which argues a side, a position of an issue. Okay? Or you will be writing a proposal paper, which basically is proposing a solution to a problem. Okay? So both of those are argumentative types of papers, and for now, it doesn't matter which type of paper you end up writing. Any topic that you choose can be formulated to work into those two papers. You'll see later. Okay? All right, so that's it for week 2. Make sure that you're doing your reading and taking notes, because students hate quizzes, but I always say quizzes are so easy if you read and take notes. So many people skip the reading, so many people skip watching these videos, so forth. They're all important. You can't just go in and do the assignments. You're missing a lot of content if you're just going in and reading the assignments and doing the assignments. Yeah, you could probably do them, but do you really understand why you're doing them? That's what this is for, okay? Why are we doing these assignments? All right, so now you know why we're doing assignment number 1 and assignment number 2. You remember? You know what's going to be on the quiz when we do eventually have a quiz. Reading content only. Okay, and as always, if you have any questions, make sure you just send me an email or a text, or you can even call me.